Hey, Connie.
Hey, hi.
Hi, this is Kevin Franz.
Okay, very good. Let's see. I see your picture over there.
Do you
Let
see
me-
a, do you see, I'm sharing a screen with a Franz hardware. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do, but there's a little,
Box in the way. Let me move that. over.
yeah, it says this meeting is being recorded. That's okay. By continuing to be in this meeting, you are consulting to be recorded.
Oh,
Continue. I'll hit that.
there you go.
It left friendsHardware.com.
Yeah, we actually invented the Franz invented the internet. I don't know if you knew that. We did delivery way before Amazon ever did.
How many bales? Hey, you what, buddy?
we were the first.
Talk to, yeah.
The problem was moving it out of Orienta, Oklahoma was not the best place to have the hardware.com.
Yeah, I see that dirt around it and everything. But is that original Frantz hardware
is.
store?
It is. My son Kindle is essentially we colored it up. So you've got this is in Orienta in 1908, and this is Heinrich Peter Franz here, and this is John Henry Franz standing there on the front. And
John Henry, huh?
yeah, that's him in his
That's
dapper
it.
red coat.
Yeah.
We don't know if it
John
was
Henry-
red, but
John
we put it-
Henry is
There's reading down.
Heinrich P's son, right? Heinrich P.
yeah,
Sandra.
Son.
yeah,
Okay, that is the one on this picture.
yes,
Kevin.
yes, you got it. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Suzanne.
Oh, hi, Janie. Hi, Dennis. Hi,
Hey,
John.
How are
Hi,
you?
Edie. Hi, Sandra.
Hi.
Must not be on, huh?
Well,
So
see,
Connie,
we can't,
Connie, I decided we're a crazy family, so I just invited all my relatives. I said, why not?
Hi. Yeah,
You're on, Dad. We can see you.
okay, there's Heinrich.
But I'm on too.
no, you're not.
Oh, you're
How come I'm not
no. Linda's
That's-
not on.
Dee, what do I need to
Yeah,
hit to
me here.
get our picture on?
Oh,
Your
there's
picture
Connie.
on, right?
Your picture's up, Dad. But if you go up into the far right corner where it says View, and you go side by side gallery,
Wait.
so go up to the far right corner where it says View.
Let's see.
I don't see view here. Hi, Connie.
Hello.
So while you guys are figuring that out, let me do some quick introductions. So
Yes.
Connie, I met Connie when I dropped into Hillsboro a little over a year ago,
We're on.
and I was fortunate enough to find her, and so
Through Mrs. Wall, through Mrs.
yeah, through Mrs. Wall. That's correct. That's correct. And her Mrs. Wall, her daughter is Lisa Franz. She married a Franz, and so her I guess her son-in-law is a Franz, and
Right.
he's actually related to you, Connie. So the
Yes,
whole
he
Michael
is.
Franz, and I think the son's name is
Is it Terry?
no, I have to think about it here in a minute.
No.
So
But-
anyway,
Chris?
yeah,
Chris?
Oh,
Chris, it is Chris. That's it. Thank you, Connie. It's Chris
Yeah.
Franz.
That's right.
Yeah. So that was just in a coincidental
That was.
meeting on the corner. Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
amazing.
So what I thought I would do today is I want to introduce Connie, because here's really what happened with the Franzes. In 1908, we showed this Orienta, Oklahoma hardware store. Several of the boys left Hillsboro, Kansas, and went to Oklahoma. And so anyway, Connie is actually, her mother was Martha Franz, who was the daughter of Johann Franz. So let's take a look here real quick.
Yeah, I'm a granddaughter.
Kevin,
Yeah.
Kevin, go back.
Johann.
Go back to the hardware store.
Yeah,
You know that's Grandpa there in the overalls.
that's correct. That's John Henry right there. That's Grandpa. That's your grandpa. That's my great
That's my
grandpa.
grandpa, yeah.
Yeah, and this is Heinrich P here, right?
Oh, that is Heinrich P?
That's
I never
Heinrich
heard
Peter.
that.
Yeah. Mhm.
How did you identify that?
You know what? I have a photo. This photo here. I don't know if you can see me or not. I have this
Yeah.
photo that
Yeah.
that is written on the back, and I believe it's Grandma Polly's handwriting. And she wrote who was on there. I think that this photo came, Suzanne, from your dad.
Yeah, I have the original photo.
Yeah, the original. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So what we did is we doctored it up with some colors. Dad, I
I
asked
see
him, do you think that would be, you know, the color of the time? He's like, yeah, it's probably about right. So we doctored it up. But anyway,
See it better, yes.
so Connie's brother wrote this book, the John Frantz Family book.
Right.
So Raymond Wiebe is the author. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to get her on, give her some encouragement and tell her about the Franzes that departed and all ended up in California.
Oh,
Not quite.
Yeah.
so
Not quite.
where do all these folks live then?
Yeah, let's do that real
You
quick.
have,
Let's-
you have Dennis, I think.
So all right, let's do this. So tell you what, let me go through these slides and this will answer, and then we'll figure out
Okay.
everybody. So that's that way we can kind of put some. So we know that these were the original, right? We had in 1906, near that same time that hardware store was taken, we had
Mhm.
Heinrich,
Uh-huh.
we had your grandfather, John.
That's my grandpa.
Who
Yep.
looked just like our grandfather, John.
He does. That's exactly
Mhm.
right. I
Mhm.
said that to myself when I
Don't
saw
you want
his
to enlarge
picture.
those?
Mhm.
It's
It's,
amazingly
it is amazing.
a
It's
spitting
amazing.
image, practically.
You're
And then
supposed to be
there was
looking at
there was a brother Peter.
Right.
Peter was the third Peter in that family. There were actually three Peters. The oldest was born, he died. The second was born, he died. This
Right.
was then the third
He's got a
Peter.
little thing he's pointing.
And then this is Benjamin. And in the middle, there's some controversy whether this is Jacobina or if this is actually Helena. I think that this is Jacobina here with her husband John Harms, and this is Helena here in this photo. Because in Raymond's book, he actually has this picture, but if you look, he doesn't have Jacobina. He has actually Helena there.
Hmm.
But these are the originals, right? So the two brothers on the far left here,
I
which
think,
would,
I think you're right though, because wasn't she a daughter?
there were
You
two
say
daughters.
Jacobina, I call her Jacobina.
Jacobina, yeah.
Excuse me, I got a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead.
Laura's trying to get on. She says she's in the waiting
Oh,
room.
she is. Let me admit her. There we go. I'm sorry.
Tell Kevin I'm
Make sure there's no one else waiting.
Well, are we on, Kevin?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are. Mhm.
Okay, so
Both-
I wanted to
both of
show
us.
this picture here because Johann Franz is Connie's grandfather.
Grandfather.
And Connie, do you remember him? Did you meet him when you were little?
No, he died in 1920 and I was born in 1941.
So you never met your
She's
grandfather.
younger
Never
than
met
you.
him, but my mother has stories about him, you know,
Okay.
that she told me, but yes, that's sad. Mhm.
So
He
let's,
died-
He was a lot younger than Heinrich P.
yeah, he was, right.
Well,
Right.
and he died of cancer. I think he was in his 60s.
Mhm.
I don't know if any of the others died of cancer, you know, but Grandpa Johann did. We call him John, but
John, yeah.
Johann is what it was for years and years.
And that's
Right.
one reason I was really confused by your brother's book, because the Johann and Heinrichs have been changed to John
Henry.
and Henry.
I know.
And, but I think they must have adopted those names. You know, they must have Americanized Englishified their names when they got here themselves, because there was such an anti-German sentiment around World War II.
Oh, sure.
But anyway, that I was confused by your brother's book, and when he was talking about John, for a long time I thought he was talking about my grandpa.
No, it's his brother, John.
Yeah, I
And
figured that out.
John and Jacobine, how do you say her name, Connie?
I just
Jacobine?
say Jacob.
Jacobina, okay.
I don't
Jacobina,
know.
they stayed,
I figure it was after a Jacob somewhere down the line, but they had to add Bina in there to make
But
it
it's a Jacobin.
Yeah.
Jacobina.
that's right.
Well,
They stayed in
Jacobine.
Hillsboro.
Jacobina. How's that?
Jacobina, yeah, Jacobina, yeah.
And we had an Aunt Bina, our
our,
Ernie
uh,
and you had an Aunt Bina who did
Was that the
Ernie.
shortened version? Is that the shortened version of Jacobina? Just
Yeah, and then you see people named Bina from
Mhm.
then, you know, I think that's just an adaptation of it.
Mm-hmm.
So too. Okay, so with that being said, so Connie is the, like, she's really like one generation removed from this picture on the left, which to me is amazing because your mom must have been the youngest and then you were the youngest. And so,
I am the youngest. Mhm.
yeah, so
Born
there's,
when my mom was 41, so
Mhm,
that was 1941. She was born in 1900. Yeah,
mhm.
that's how.
Connie,
hanging
Connie,
on
I
there.
remember your Uncle Adolf.
Do you?
Yes,
Oh,
he would visit us in Arizona.
yes,
I
yes.
have a very vivid recollection of him. He was very handsome man, a nice man, and extremely intelligent.
Yeah, that's
He was a professor somewhere.
at Bucknell University, but he also studied in Germany. His field was German. And somehow he kept his job all through World War, II. I mean, that
With that name, Adolf was
yeah. Oh.
painful, painful.
Yeah.
But he
That's,
kept
that's
his
a,
job. Yeah, I
That's-
never
yeah.
heard that he was ostracized or anything like that. So
Do you remember him?
Uncle Adolf?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, very, very much. I saw
And-
him a lot.
Did they live in
Oh,
California?
They they were in Bucknell for many years. I mean, he was
Bucknell's in what, northern Pennsylvania or southern New York? The school, Bucknell.
I have never visited him there, but we always knew Uncle Adolf was from Bucknell. And then they came often to visit my parents because Uncle Adolf was just 4 years older than my mom. And they fished together when they were children on the South
How
Cotton
did
River.
how does someone get in and like?
Somebody is still trying to get in, or have they left?
no, let's see here. Someone's
Hi,
trying to get in.
Laura.
Hi. Hello.
Oh, there's.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see
Same
you.
here.
I think someone may have left. Yeah,
Hi.
they may in and out.
Is Sandra still here?
Yeah.
It doesn't show
go.
all the people, at least on our view.
Sandra was here a minute ago.
You don't have to show up if you're just on audio, actually.
Right.
If you don't want people to look at your picture, you
You can hide.
just hide.
So Connie, let me tell you who's present. So John Franz is my dad. So when I found your brother's book, I bought the copy there in Hillsboro
Right.
and gave it to him. Actually, the one you signed, I gave that to him. And so that's my dad, John Franz. He's the oldest from Ernie Franz.
From Ernie.
Well, I'm the oldest grandchild of John H.
Right. Oldest grandson, John H.
So is this your dad on the
This is-
iPad?
Yeah, this is my dad on the iPad. Yeah, and his
Okay.
wife Linda.
hello. Very good.
Yeah.
I figured out that he is my second cousin once removed.
Well, he's been removed for a long time, so I believe it.
We wanted to remove him a long time ago.
Should we take it? Take that?
I don't know if that's correct, Suzanne. Do you think that would be the way to
Well, we won't discuss politics on this call.
Oh, boy. The reason I
I'm the
want
only
you,
right
what-
one.
yeah. And then his sister Rita, which I know her as Aunt Janie. I don't know what she goes by these days, but my Aunt Janie, and Dennis, they're on the call. That's his sister. And then my dad has two brothers, Richard and Robert. Robert was going to join us. I don't know if he got on. He's they're identical twins, and Richard has passed and Robert's still with us, lives in Reno, Nevada.
And they
So,
were born in 41.
Right.
yeah, about that
Richard and
time.
Robert. That's from your chart you sent me, Kevin.
Yes, yeah, I
Right
can't.
here.
Must be true.
Yeah. So, and then my sister Deanna is on the phone. She's the genealogy guru. She's the one who started all this stuff, but she put together a very nice family tree of both sides of our family, and it's basically perked my interest. So that's what drove me to Hillsboro to go find the
Kevin's boots on the ground and I'm behind the computer.
That's
Good
right.
answer.
guerrilla warfare, figuring out who the family is. And then on the phone also we have Sandra and Laura. Laura and Sandra are my cousins. Those are Dennis and Rita's children. So they're listening in. So let me give a couple more. So we know these guys, Heinrich and John, they went to Oklahoma. This was for the actual Oklahoma run that happened in 1874 or 3, right in that time frame.
Okay.
I put together a video on this. I'll actually have to send you the link. But what essentially what happened, and my family doesn't know this because they haven't been to Hillsboro yet, but the whole Frantz family and the whole town that was there, they moved to Kansas, to Hillsboro. Like the whole town left. They sold their land. So the Ratzloffs and the Schroeders and all of them moved because there was a guy that was recruiting the Mennonites to come. And what they did is they bought Santa Fe, this is Marion County, which is Hillsboro. They
Right.
bought land out there at a fairly low cost because the Santa Fe Railroad was coming right through there. And so it was prosperous in the sense they had transportation to and from this area, the Santa Fe rolling through. And basically they started to buy up this land out in Marion County. And Peter Frantz, who was obviously the
father.
patriarch,
Yeah,
he came and
patriarch.
died a couple of years after they arrived.
Yeah.
There is a museum in Hillsboro that I want to get back to. Coronavirus has prevented us from getting there. This photo is from that museum. It's fantastic, and we got to go visit.
It showed, yeah.
Shows the whole history of the family. So what happened for us, Connie, is that,
Kevin.
Peter, yeah.
They were all on the ship from Hamburg to the United States, the Ratzloffs and the Franzes. They were all on the same ship.
Schroeders were on there too, actually.
I have the
Yeah.
ship manifest.
Yeah.
So why did Heinrich and John Henry Frantz, why did they leave Hillsboro, the area, Marion County? Why did they leave county?
I think the fact that there was free land that was being given away in
In
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
And so they said, look, they're giving out free land. Let's go. It wasn't that far away. And it was part of basically they went down there. I think once they committed to go, they got up and left. It looked like probably good farmland. And I'm not actually sure why, but once they left, they really kind of, they went back several times, but after that generation, I think my family, they lost a little bit of the ties. But here, Heinrich married Anna Schroeder, right? And they had a large family. These are all aunts and uncles that
Right.
Suzanne probably remembers.
I
And so did
remember
my
some.
dad.
But I was going to say, Kevin, that I think it might be Raymond's book, it said, or somewhere I was going through all of this stuff from Grandma last night, and said that they were not successful in the land run.
No. So
Really?
Grandpa
Okay.
Ernie told me that somebody claimed over them. They actually staked a claim, but somebody claimed over them and they were not successful. So they later got a lower quality piece of land in Orienta.
That they had to
And then-
borrow money for.
And then they actually upgraded and bought land that the school was selling to develop schools, similar to what the railroad was doing. The schools were selling land so they could generate and build schools. And that's when they bought the school land and I don't even know how big the farm was. Dad, do you know? It's 640 acres, a full sector?
Well, they had probably a quarter section on one side of the
Okay.
road, and then they bought another probably half section on the across the road.
So Suzanne, your dad, Milton, told me that John Henry Frantz, the oldest son, was the hardest working man he ever knew. He said that he worked so hard,
He
to
had
try to
huge
prosper.
hands. He had huge hands, and my dad had huge hands too.
Yeah, just hard work out there on the farm, really. And
Mhm.
they went to an area how many of these cousins do you remember, Dad or Suzanne? How many, like Henry, Augustina, Mary, Henry, Jack, another Jacobina? How many of these?
I
do you
remember Aunt Bina when we were little kids, and
I remember
Uncle
Henry.
Neil, Aunt Emma,
Uncle Neil,
Uncle Neil, and Uncle Neil's son, Elmer, who I remember vividly, was a fantastic person. And he's the one that was the MC at the the reunion that we have, the video, the Mennonite,
Mhm.
the Sarah and Mennonite reunion was fantastic. And then, Minnow, what I was always told was that he committed suicide.
Interesting. He was the
When he-
youngest.
Yeah, and he's buried in the Orient. Have you been to the Orienta Cemetery, Kevin?
No, Dad had a reunion. We were supposed to go back, but we didn't make it.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big family. So that means there's a lot of Franz cousins that are still out there in Oklahoma or something, I mean, or you guys probably stay in touch with some of them, but there's
Well,
a,
they have reunions. I saw the Frantz family reunions that we never knew about.
Mhm.
It's their branch, I guess.
And Connie, you guys had a lot of Franz family reunions there in Hillsboro. I see in that book your brother wrote.
Yeah, Raymond and David made sure that happened, and my brother John too. And Don and I were on the committee for a few years. As the families get bigger, it's harder to get together. People get spread, and we don't have Friends reunions anymore.
Right.
We're trying to keep track of our own kids and our own grandkids at this point.
Yeah.
And they're
Oh,
elderly.
Connie, did you know anybody in our branch of the family before Kevin?
No.
See that? I'm the Nehemiah. I'm coming back to build the wall.
That's right. Right. Now,
That's right.
Suzanne's father is whom then? I don't know.
Milton.
Yeah. And,
The baby.
Suzanne, tell
he was the
about your
baby.
dad.
My dad was the baby of the family.
I'm looking for Milton on this list.
He was the actually, I'll be honest with you, he was probably the most handsome of them all too.
He was very,
I don't know.
Yeah,
he was born in 1925.
very tall, very handsome, very smooth, very successful businessman. And
Huh.
liked to fly airplanes.
And
Mhm.
he was a very friendly, he's the one that really got all the cousins to be, the first cousins to be in touch, wasn't
Yeah.
he? He's the one that would start emailing and copying us all on emails.
Wow.
And, that's how I got back in touch with everybody, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So your dad was Milton,
Mhm.
and he lived where most of his life? Or
Well, we left Oklahoma in 1951 and moved to Arizona.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he did business there.
Yes,
Shrewd business, very smart businessman.
he had a small LP gas and equipment company, butane and propane.
Well, that's a good field to be in. Yeah.
Back
He
then, it
actually-
was just weird.
Tell her about him basically putting a gas system in up there in that town.
Yeah, well, he used to convert. I just remember as a kid, we never went to the gas station. Our cars ran on, we had
Okay.
tanks in the trunk, and they ran on butane and propane.
Oh
Mhm.
my.
In the 50s.
Oh.
Gas all the way up to Payson, which is probably what, an hour and a half outside of Phoenix.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
fly up there.
And what?
And they didn't have a public gas service, so he converted the town
Oh,
Yeah.
to LP gas.
okay.
He also was
gas system.
he was also a Rotary member, and he actually, what was the award that he got?
Oh, I forget.
It's the founder of Rotary, but he was very involved with his
He
Rotary
loved
club.
Rotary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very,
And
very
he loved all you guys. I gotta say, he was so involved in keeping track of you guys and your kids and where you were living and what you were doing and the first cousins. And he was the one who held it together, at least as far as I was concerned.
Well, I got a kick out of, we were there twice in spring training and we went to games together and he didn't care for baseball too much. But we sat there and talked and he said how he negotiated to get out of Oklahoma. And then the negotiating he did when he was in the Phoenix area with the gas company. It was like getting a business master's class.
We were poor. We were really poor.
Well, you can say that about a lot of the family
Yeah.
here.
We all have the same
Yeah.
roots.
Yeah, that's right.
Suzanne?
have you ever seen that copy of Grandpa's will?
No.
It's sad. There was just so little.
Well, I think that was the theme when you went to Oklahoma, is it wasn't as prosperous as everyone thought it was going to be.
Unless you struck oil.
Yeah.
So who was Suzanne's grandpa that had that will? Who was it?
John
John H.
Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And John was the oldest, right, of Heinrich's kids.
Yes.
So actually what happened is that John stayed back to take care of Anna Schroeder, his mother, and
Oh.
Heinrich and Henry went down to basically stake a claim. And then they went back, Heinrich and John and Henry went back,
Linda's Connie.
and that's when they had lost, what's that? That's when they found out they had lost their claim. So,
Oh,
yeah. But
Wait.
anyway,
Say that again. They stayed back to take care of their mother.
John Henry stayed back in Hillsboro to take care of his mom, Anna Schroeder,
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
When they made the run, when they made
when they made the
run.
run.
I
So,
didn't know that.
mhm. Yeah, Henry and Heinrich, the two Henrys, Henry squared left and went down for the run. Mhm. Yeah. But one of the things I was going to say here too is that, so John Henry had married back in Hillsboro, Lizzie Lawrence, and she passed away, and so did the child. The child's name was Waldo.
Waldo
And-
Orlando.
And did I send everybody the picture from the double wedding?
I have it. Yeah, I was looking
I have
forward to
it
put it
too.
in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a double wedding. So what happened is Jacobina and John Henry got married at the same time.
hmm,
They had a double wedding in Hillsboro. And then
mhm.
she passed away in 1911 and the child passed away 3 months later. And he then married Catherine Reimer, who is a school teacher.
Mhm.
And what college had she gone to? Do you remember?
Did you just call me?
Suzanne, do you remember? Dad, do you remember which college?
I don't know.
I think it's
don't-
Bethel College.
Bethel.
Bethel
yeah.
College,
Everybody
that
went
was
to
it, yeah.
Bethel.
Yeah.
Mhm. But this is her, and I don't know if these were students or who these were. This is her as a picture as a young woman.
Hmm.
So here, John Henry and Catherine then had Ernest, my grandfather,
Yeah.
right? Had Wilma, Marvin, Hilda, and Milton. And like I said, Waldo passed away 3 months after birth from the first marriage. So these are the 5 children. And so Milton is Suzanne's dad. And
Right.
Milton and Millie were Suzanne's mom and dad.
Mhm, mhm.
Now, Connie, going through the book, there was a lot of your family that lived in Woodland, California, which
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time, and I didn't know him. I went to high school in Woodland, California.
That is the Bachman family, is it? The Bachman, Bachmann, something like that.
I don't remember. I'd have to
Yeah.
go back through the book, but I was surprised.
Hmm.
And I know that when my grandparents came out, they went to Reedley, California, to visit some relatives down there.
Hmm.
So Connie, can you tell us a little bit about the California connection? Because I know you go to California quite often.
Right. Well, I think the Bachmans, wasn't that Jacobina? Not your Jacobina, but there were a lot of those in the Mennonite family.
Yeah.
So I think they went to Woodlake first,
Yeah, Woodland. It was Woodland.
Woodland.
Let's say between 10 and 3.
Hey, Dad, we can hear Linda
Yeah.
talking.
So eventually,
Linda?
eventually
I can hear
they,
you talking. Okay.
actually my dad's brother went to the Reedley, California, Central Valley area to be a doctor. I mean, he was an MD. And then they started the Hillsboro, the Reedley Hospital. That's my dad's brother and my mother, Martha's sister's husband. So they were friends, in the Mennonite church, you were so close, everybody was. And Yeah, but they never went to Oklahoma, but that Reedley thing got a little bit established, not real big, just Uncle Menno Gady. He married Anna Franz, my mother's younger sister, just very little bit younger. They were close. And then the Gadys have stayed in Reedley or Los Angeles,
Mhm.
but there aren't many Franz relatives in the Central Valley. Oh, I take that back. Okay, who is Ernest Siemens's father, Franz? Emil Franz. Have you heard of Emil Franz? He was mother's first cousin, Frantz.
Hmm.
They went to Shafter and Wasco area, which is about 25 miles north of Bakersfield. And it was pretty much desert out there, but they were able to tap into water, and now it is Bakersfield area, the rural areas, all growing agriculture. Very good, yeah. So
Connie, are you in Hillsboro?
there are a lot of relatives in the Shafter, the north of Bakersfield area. Yes, I forgot about Uncle, my mother's brother, Ferdinand, and my mother's brother, John, and their families went to that area when Dalhart, Texas blew out in the early 30s.
Hmm.
So there, you see,
Kevin, sorry to interrupt. Sandra got booted out and she just.
Oh, yeah, let her back in, sorry.
Yeah, thanks.
Connie, are you in Hillsboro?
I am.
Wow,
Yeah.
didn't go far. And are you a Mennonite?
A Mennonite Brethren, but my father was Crimmer Mennonite Brethren. My mother was Mennonite Brethren. Uncle, Grandpa Johann and his wife, who was a Schrader, they became rebaptized as adults after they were married. They had a Bible study in a little shed there, French Creek. I don't know, Kevin, you've explained French Creek and what
I
that is.
haven't. No, I haven't had a chance. I mean, I wanted to take everybody to Hillsboro and we haven't had a chance to go.
Great Peter Franz, great grandpa Peter Franz, my great grandpa would be great for some of you. I mean, it goes on, but he is buried at French Creek Cemetery. And we don't have a stone though, do we?
No, there's no stone there.
Kidding, how awful.
No, in
Well,
fact,
he was buried just a couple years after they got there.
yeah, he died in 1877.
Is his grave marked in any way at
No,
all?
it's not.
Oh, okay.
He
No, it's-
came with $500 at that time, cash in his pocket. This is grandpa as a widower, great grandpa, and he came with Heinrich and Johann stayed back in Somerville, Illinois for a while. Maybe they learned more English that way. I think they did. And so Heinrich was about 26, wasn't he? And then Johann was 16 when they came over from Russia to Somerville. Then the rest of Peter Senior, Raymond calls him Peter Senior, his like the woman, Jacobina.
Helena stayed there. She'd married a Bachman.
That's the one. Helena. She married the Bachman that ended up in Woodlake, California. Okay.
So yeah, so let's go back to this picture.
Now,
I think that's her right here. She married a Bachman. This is, I believe this is Helena, and this is, I think,
That's a harm.
yeah. She married John Harms, who was actually a preacher and a quite successful
Johann. Yeah, there's another Johann. He was very instrumental in the Mennonite Brethren Church, and that's probably partly influenced to my grandfather and my
They hired him as a school teacher. They hired him as a school teacher, as well as he was a very shrewd businessman. I mean, he was just a good salesman, is what they said, and a very good preacher. And
Mhm.
he's the one that rebaptized everyone there at the French Creek near the Red
That's right.
Schoolhouse.
Hmm.
That's right. And those women were willing to do it. I'm just amazed, having had children already and whatnot, it's something else. But they would dam up a creek so that when it was warmer weather, and dam it up so that it was high enough that you could immerse. And they did.
Mhm.
Now
Mhm.
that doesn't sound right to Suzanne probably,
It
because,
sounds chilly.
but see, that's why with Heinrich leaving, I think part of the reason was also having enough land. You have a whole bunch of kids and you only have so much available. And
Mhm.
then if you have um, which should we say, a courageous personality type, and this is opened up in Oklahoma, you can't blame them for going.
I have a different theory. I actually have a different theory.
Okay, what's your theory?
My theory was the fishing wasn't good up there.
Oh, Grandpa.
And so they left to find better fishing.
Look at that.
I love that picture.
That is a
And,
great.
and I have a
photo.
box at my front door, Suzanne, and I'm so excited to open it. But I
Oh,
didn't have
it
time.
arrived?
It arrived today. I'm remodeling my house. My whole house is
yay.
torn up right now. So
You're
but-
getting new stuff from Suzanne.
I
don't
sent
even know
him
what's
my
in there.
dad's fishing tackle.
I should go open it up while we're on the phone. How exciting is it?
I washed it all and threw
So
out
this
the
is-
gate and,
I think
it's
that's
all
the- that's my
organized. It's
theory.
like a little museum
fish did
display
he
case.
get? What kind of fish do you have down there?
Dad, that's your subject matter.
Well, but you got all the equipment.
Yeah.
Well, I got
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Been able
too.
to
I have
fish here yet.
Oh, in Florida, we got all kinds of fish out there.
No, I mean, this picture, isn't this taken in
Oh,
Oklahoma?
that's it,
Mhm.
probably Canton Lake, which was south of Fairview, Oklahoma,
Okay.
southwest. And there was crappie, catfish, bass, and that, I think pretty much it, all kinds of catfish and
Mhm. So
Sorry.
that's my theory, Connie. They left for better fishing.
well, Connie's right. I think what Heinrich had, maybe a quarter section of land in Hillsboro and had all these kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think he left Kansas to try to get land for the family.
Mhm. I think
A
you're right.
lot of people did that. Mennonite people did that because they were farmers.
Mhm.
Later on, we're not farmers anymore, and so we can live anywhere. But at that time, they were looking for land. Yeah.
Mhm.
They're Mennonite in Oklahoma before they went down there, Kevin.
Oh, sure. I
Yeah.
bet they were.
They're following.
They were Mennonites in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think were they following community? They were following community probably when that's why one of the reasons why they went to Oklahoma.
So, and I have to
We were
tell you
following a
something.
ministry.
Exactly. She's right. That's
Mm.
good.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
followed
And
a
you
pastor.
go to Hillsboro today, there's a wonderful Tabor College there, which I know Connie's been very involved with.
Yes, I have.
The Mennonites that live in Kentucky near where my mother-in-law grew up, they wear the bonnets and ride around in these are both
The
Amish.
the
Mennonites.
Amish.
That's not what's going on in Hillsboro, folks.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
This is everybody's driving a normal car. Everyone's like has an iPhone. This is
Oh.
not what maybe you think is the old, buggy and bonnet. That's not what's happening.
Well, Kevin, that's the way Grandma and Grandpa were. They were, the only thing I know weird about them was that they didn't believe in dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Or
And
movies.
we had to pretend that I didn't go to tap dancing school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was left-handed, and Grandma said that was a sign of the devil.
Okay.
I am too. That's terrible.
Well,
And I don't remember anything else Grandma had that long hair down to her waist,
yeah.
and she
Well,
wore it in a bun, but it wasn't a covered bun.
Right. Well, the thing I always found interesting is that you would wear a tie with overalls. I think that's quite unique.
Yeah, love that.
That is cute. Hmm.
So,
With Connie, our grandparents were Mennonite Brethren, but there was another sect of Mennonite there that were a little bit more strict. No flowers, no yard, drove black cars and had tractors, but very plain. The women wore bonnets and then on south of us, we had the Amish, what we called the Hook and Eye Dutch.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And those were the three sects of the Mennonites that were in the area that we lived in.
And
Mhm.
our grandparents were members of the Sarin Mennonite Church.
But they were Mennonite Brethren, was the sect, I think, was.
and
then
that's what John Harms kind of established up there with well, they strengthened that. I don't know, maybe that was a group. He would travel, it says in the book. I have a book here that talks about his ventures. I can find it
In
here.
the farming communities of the Central Valley of California, there are far more Mennonite Brethren today than mainline Mennonite Church. I call the Mennonite Church where it's just Mennonite MCA or something like that. The Mennonite Brethren did go out there to farm. As far as Franz's, it was at Shafter and Wasco, and they've done very well.
Now you go out there often, and you said you actually own some property there.
We
now.
own a 60-acre fruit, nectarines and peaches, 3 miles south of Reedley, because my Uncle Menno, the doctor, he was investing some of his money in something in the, like about 40, and he bought 80 acres, just 3 miles south of Reedley, 3 miles west of Dinuba, which is a thoroughfare. Today, you've got 4-lane going by our farm. We've
Mm.
got a Dinuba golf course at the back of it. And we are going to give it to a foundation. It's Everence, if you've ever heard of Everence, because the capital gains are so great, we can't.
Oh, I know.
That
Unbelievable.
way it'll do some good. And we have something else to share with our 2 children. So we have other things. So
And the taxes out there now are crazy too.
yes, and the feeling of government invading what our farming does, it's scary, but the guy that has managed it for 40 years would like to buy it. Imagine that. I don't know why, but we'd like that better. We can't talk about it to him though.
Oh, I'm sure it breaks his heart.
No, when you give it away to a foundation, they have to follow the tax rules and everything to I don't know. They are in charge of it. What
Yeah.
they do with it. So
Mhm.
anyway, I'm just saying
Right.
the Mennonite Brethren have done good in farming or in professions. Yeah.
I have to warn everybody, I'm a cheapskate, so I didn't pay for the Zoom full, the $14.99 a month. I'm doing this via free Zoom. And they said I only get 40 minutes. So I'm just giving
Yeah.
everybody a warning.
Oh,
But if it gets
Oh,
cut
wow.
off, that's why. But what I wanted to do, Connie, is when I was there, again, you signed this wonderful book that your brother wrote. And I'm so grateful for it.
If you get kicked out, you just go back in and get back in, and it goes on again for 45 minutes again. So if you get
Oh.
kicked, go back in.
And
So
I
my-
saw we got a notification that the free time had been extended. I think a lot
Oh.
of times on the weekends, they
oh,
extend it.
Oh,
'cause
perfect.
It's not used.
So you guys are Zoom professionals. I'm just
I use Zoom every day.
Yes,
I'm a Zoom amateur.
I have an account. If you ever want to use my account, I have unlimited hours for up to 300 people.
Oh,
Well, I think we just found our new hostess.
oh, what does she do for a living?
Yeah, what do you do for a
Is
living?
this the-
he does everything.
She's a
Who, me?
Does it
photographer.
well and does it well.
She's a little league superstar mom.
And where do you live, Deanna?
I'm in actually Prescott, Arizona, which is 2 hours north of Phoenix.
And so that's kind of in the area that Milton took everybody eventually out there, right?
Well, he went
Oh,
to,
he just took our family. You, excuse
he
me.
actually begged the family to come live in Arizona, and I'm the only one that did.
Well, actually, Deanna, that's not true. Your sister lived out there for a while too.
Yeah, she followed me though,
And your mother.
and my mom.
And, yeah,
John, did Ernie and Polly move to California before or after Milton moved to Arizona?
after they came out in, I think, in 1954, around right after the first year, if I remember right. They came to, I think Bob and Rita and Richard and Mom lived in Reno, and then my dad came down to California and found work. And then they all moved down here. Well, and I came out in 54 after high school, I came out in end of May, I think it was. It came to Reno, and then I came down to California. And then we moved to Woodland.
There was a mass exodus of Oklahomans going to California, and they are actually considered almost like African-American citizens. They were like the gypsies on the road and not accepted into California very well.
But
Yeah,
was
Henry-
that during the Depression or was that in the 50s
No.
also?
Well, it was after,
20
during the
years
Dust
after
Bowl.
the Depression.
Yeah, that was Hemingway's Grapes of Wrath.
Well,
No,
Steinbeck.
Steinbeck.
Yeah,
I see as a test. I was testing everybody. See what your literature background was like.
If we're paying attention.
That's right.
I remember being on the farm at Reedley in the Central Valley, and we hired Okies to work.
Okay.
There was a lot of us out here.
Yeah. Well, even when my mother came to California, one of her jobs was in a packing plant in Loomis, helping to pack the fruit and stuff, just because, they were so desperate for money. And she took
Right.
whatever she could. So that helped, put money or food on the table for 4 kids. So
About what year? Oh, you mean when your mom and dad moved to
Yeah.
To
California?
California, yeah.
that kind of interim between the time we came and lived in Fair Oaks for a while and then eventually moved to Woodland. So, yeah, luckily my mom found a job and she worked with Dee Dee's grandfather. So that's how John and his first wife met, was through,
That was that picture I was showing you. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of got a flare.
There you go.
There's Grandpa John Henry with when you guys got married, Dad.
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
That's
And he was
classic.
He was alive when I was born,
yes.
but barely. Yeah.
barely.
He
Yeah.
died,
Where-
in
when
1966.
When your parents were engaged, Dee Dee, and I thought your mom was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen,
Yeah.
and lovely. She was, I remember visiting, they were just,
Well,
John was so lucky to get her to marry him.
enough, Grandma Polly had lots of family that moved to the Sacramento area. There was a lot on Grandma Polly's side.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
they followed her. They were there before. That's true.
So Connie, when you leave Kansas to go to anywhere, where do you fly out of?
Wichita,
And how long does it take to drive from Wichita to Hillsboro?
an hour or less.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's pretty reasonable.
Well, we have a lot of people teaching at Tabor that actually live in Wichita or Newton. If they come from a bigger city, they say, well, it's no longer than we had to drive where we were living,
Mhm.
so,
Sure.
Mhm.
Well, that's
uh,
For a
the
base.
drive is very nice. It
Yeah.
really is. If the weather is good. Oklahoma gets ice too,
Does,
that's not good. Ice is not good.
at the French Creek Cemetery, are there other headstones there, or is
There
it
are.
that there's nothing there?
No, it's there. It was established. There's a lot of Schroeders there, but there are not very many Francis.
We could still put up a headstone
Well,
for
actually,
Peter, even
I
though
have
we
to-
don't know which where he is.
so when I did my research, actually, Peter Franz is not buried there. He was buried on his land next to the little red schoolhouse.
Really?
Yeah, and
Oh.
Ratzlaff, what's his first name? Marvin Ratzloff actually owns that land now. And I've
But he
asked him if you've
said-
ever seen any headstones in there.
And what did he say?
He
What did-
said he could see some where the old structure was, but they came back from Oklahoma and took all that wood because they needed to build a house down there. They came back, loaded up all the wood from an old barn and left. So,
How did you find that out, Kevin, that he's
hey,
buried
just go knocking
there?
on doors.
Oh, boy, I just Google this and Google that.
No, I actually, when I was there, I went.
Yeah,
and
he
I
went.
went into Marvin Ratzloff's house. He now owns a lot of the Franz farms that were there. So, and his great grandfather came over on the same ship. So,
That's right. That is
Yeah.
interesting. Mhm.
yep.
So,
So,
What do you want to sell you the barn for?
no, that was another Midnight Family. I almost bought it. No, dude.
Kevin, did you just go out there to do this, or were you out there for business?
No, I had to go to Kansas City for a meeting at Black and Veatch Engineering. We were building a new facility, and I looked it up. I said, I'm gonna go to Hillsboro, and I sent Suzanne a note, and she's like, well, look at this. She gave me kind of a bunch of information.
Good.
And what I had these two documents, right? This was one that our great grandmother Catherine put together.
Yes.
And then this is one that was put together. It was updated with from I think Hilda.
I think
Hilda.
Hilda
Yeah.
put that together.
And basically, you get the pictures then of all the boys and the girls, the family.
Right.
And so she updated it. And I think, Connie, you found some of this information in your brother's research file. I think you found maybe this document here.
I
in,
have it. I do.
yeah.
I have it. Yeah, she died in 57, the author, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, our
Catherine.
grandma.
Mhm.
And
So, Connie, do you know Suzanne has traveled to Prussia where they had their farm? And actually, you saw where Helena was buried, right? And their old address, it's still upstanding building.
And the
Yeah.
church where they
Their
were
church.
preachers. And but the German cemetery is ruined. And I didn't the ethnic German, which is what they were.
absolutely.
And of course that's been decimated. There's still some headstones there. I remember a Bartel and Schroeder, but I didn't see any of ours because it's all overgrown and the headstones are broken. If you go to the Polish cemetery, it's all nice and perfect, but
Yeah.
of course they hated the Germans
Mhm,
and anything associated, even though our family was long gone
mhm.
before the war, before World War I or World War II.
What's very interesting is in the book that Raymond wrote, he talks about there were several, once the Russians and the Polish came in there, they shot several leaders of that Mennonite group that stayed behind.
Mhm.
They actually, I think there were 8 men that got shot.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty
They
bad.
spoke German, they identified it as Germans, and they were probably, they were pacifists, or they, in theory, but yeah, it was ugly.
I thought they were largely Dutch.
They all came from Holland
Yeah,
originally.
originally.
Because I did my DNA, and there's not a whole lot of German in my DNA. There's a lot of Dutch.
The German was picked up because they moved to Prussia, and I think they picked up the language there originally, like in the 1700s or so.
Mhm.
But they weren't actually bred German. They were Holland. Yes.
Yeah.
It was all
ethnic.
it was all because of religious persecution, right? That they left Holland probably for Prussia and left Prussia for United States.
Well, the
And
draft,
Dutch
the
is very,
draft.
sim-
That's
Yeah.
why they came to the United States.
Dutch and German is very similar, right? They spoke something, sie sagt Plattdeutsch. Sie haben
Yeah.
Plattdeutsch gesprochen.
And
That's
that
what
is
my dad
very
spoke.
close. You're right.
Yeah.
Very close.
So-
Mein Großvater hat Plattdeutsch gesprochen, nicht Hochdeutsch.
Noah's taking German at ASU right now because he wants to go play in the German symphony.
There you go.
Ah, that's cool.
Speaking of music,
Berlin
speaking of-
Philharmonic.
Speaking of music, Connie, I understand you have quite the voice. Now, Michael Franz told my dad and I when we talked to him that you have quite the beautiful voice.
Oh, it's gone. By the time you're 8 decades old, it is not there anymore. But well, that was nice. How did they get that idea?
So, well, one day, I just, my dad and I had a little call with Michael Franz because I'm like, you know what, let's talk to him. And so we called, and he just remembers you singing in church a lot. So I guess
Who's Michael Franz?
Oh, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike
Yeah.
Franz.
Mhm,
Oh,
Chris's dad. Mhm.
Who's?
So Mike Franz is another descendant of John or Johann Franz.
yes.
And so
Not-
here's the story. I was out on the dirt road in Hillsboro, a muddy dirt road corner, and I'm looking for a little red schoolhouse. And literally, I'm looking around at fields and nothing, right? And this white Cherokee Jeep drives up, and it's Joyce Wall and her husband, Joyce and Bill. I think Bob, maybe Bob.
Bob, Joyce, and Bob.
And they said, "Can we help you?" And I said, "My name is Kevin Franz, and my great-great-grandfather is supposed to be buried somewhere on this road." And they said, "Well, our daughter is a Franz. Why don't you follow us to church? We're going there for Wednesday night. You can have pizza with us."
That's right. And they had never met before. I mean, this
Never.
is just incredible.
And I spent the night at their house, and we stayed up till probably 3 a.m. doing genealogy work.
Kevin finds himself in the most craziest stories ever. That's just
That's a good story. So
Yeah,
we
good.
never found. So then we jumped in the car after church and went to
Back.
3 or 4 cemeteries. Couldn't find any Franzes. And then we went up to Marvin Radsloff's house and asked him, "Hey, you own that land. Have you ever seen anything?" And so I
Yeah.
went back and spent the night. Then the next morning we jumped up and went to Connie's house before I
Yeah.
had to go back to the airport to catch
You
my
just
flight
had
home.
minutes. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So that
Oh.
was it.
Well, thanks for doing that, Kevin.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, we all have to go there. There's a great museum.
Yeah, that
Gotta
would be
go.
great.
I'd love
We
to
gotta
go to
meet Connie
Hillsboro.
in person, right? So we have to schedule. I think we have to have like a Franz family reunion in Hillsboro and just let everybody know. Like we should be planning this thing for maybe the spring or maybe the fall. The fall's not here.
Get on it, Kevin, get on it.
Connie, are there hotels and things?
That's a
Oh, there's
good
a Sonic. There's a Sonic burger there. There's-
How about an eating in and out burger?
no, just a Sonic. The Sonic burger there. I went there 3 times.
Sonic and Wendy's and
Yeah.
Pizza Hut. And
Oh,
today in our church, we have 3 Mennonite Brethren churches in the area, and our church hosted the Tabor students that want to come and get come to church. Not all do, you know. And the people that catered it go to our church. They are from San Diego, California. He is Filipino and she is Mexican. Their name is Di Fiesta, and they've been coming now for a couple of years, and they make very interesting food. So that's what they made for the Tabor students. We may be physically isolated to a large degree, but there is so much
So here's the interesting
DMA.
story. So the new chancellor of Tabor College, or the president,
Yes.
he's from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo.
Yes.
That's where my younger sister Deborah and my younger brother Mark both went to school. Deborah's an architect and Mark is a mechanical engineer, and they both studied there. And Mark still lives there and runs the nuclear power plant there at Diablo Canyon.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so and that chancellor was is now coming back or the president of Tabor. So
Right.
talk about a small world. And you
Yeah.
said that you have a nephew or something that is going to.
Oh,
Cal-
Aiden's going to Cal Poly at Pomona. That's our
Pomona.
grandson. That's Christy's oldest.
Is he a Franz or is he a Wiebe?
He's a Zimmerman.
Oh, Zimmerman. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
His,
not a Mennonite name.
yeah, his grandma, well, his grandma, Suzanne, his grandma was a Yoder.
Oh,
I
he's a
mean,
Yoder.
Oh,
Amish yet. Yeah.
no kidding.
Yes. And Christy met Lance, her husband, at Wichita. actually, she met him at a bookstore in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know, the Barnes and Noble, I think.
Mhm.
He
Sure.
played fiddle in a band for fun, and they were entertaining at Barnes and Noble. And he met her through my son in Wichita, and anyway, he's a graduate of Bethel, and Christy is from Wiebe.
There's a connection
So they made it. They made it.
There's such a huge family resemblance amongst John Henry's like kids and grandkids, like Suzanne and my aunt Rita, and then your cousins. You guys all look so much alike. But I think it's coming from the Catherine side. I think you guys all look alike because of your grandma Catherine.
there.
Yeah, and we walk like grandpa. And we have grandma's waistline
Yeah.
up around our armpits. And so do the men.
They all were like that, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh,
Her name's
The
Connie.
Frantz family curse.
Connie,
yes.
this is, I'm Linda, John's wife.
Uh-huh.
And my son-in-law is from Topeka, and all his parents have been there were there for a long, long time. And her maiden name was Weehee. Weehee. Yeah.
How do you
And
spell that?
What?
How do you spell that?
It was Wiehee, I think. Weehee. And there she's deceased now, and then his name was Greg, Gregg. And they were longtime Topeka people. And I just wondered if there was ever a connection between any of your family and them.
Not that I know of, but it's interesting how the spelling has changed, and it could be a Wiebe if you go back
Yeah.
far enough.
Right.
Because it's so unusual. That's
Yes.
the name. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Connie, did your brother go to Poland to do research on his book?
No, he was very much a book, and interviewed people. He did a lot of research. He did, actually for the Wheat Centennial, he was the Kansas research person. He was hired by the state of Kansas to do research. So he just did that. He's
good.
He was not a traveler, but he remembered everything, and he died 2 years ago. And I have had so many questions since then. I mean, it just comes up. I know Raymond would know. I know he would know.
Mhm.
That's the way it goes.
I had an interesting experience. I had to go to the hospital here a while back, and the nurse in there that helped me was a Franz, also spelled the same way we spell ours.
Really?
And she said that her husband, she married into the Frantz family,
Mhm.
and her husband was from New York. And I didn't get to talk to her very much, but I thought, when you mentioned that one of the members of the family was a professor up in New York, that maybe that's where that side of the family came from. I didn't know that, so.
Well, Suzanne or Kevin, isn't FRAMTZ common in Holland or someplace?
It's
I don't
means
know.
in German or in Plattdeutsch, it means friends or friendship. Franz. It means that's what I've learned.
Well,
But
I have
Go
a
ahead.
friend who lives in Connecticut, and he says he meets quite a few Franzes
Mhm.
in that area, spelled like our name.
We're-
So I don't know.
We're probably related if you go back far enough.
Mhm.
Oh, for
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
Well, at one time, I was told that, and I think we kind of proved it, that FRANZ, and then there's another way of spelling it and things like that, that we're probably all related somewhere along the line.
Sure.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Honey,
Yeah.
you were saying that there are different branches of Mennonite, and you said you're in the Brethren Mennonite.
Mennonite brethren, and that is kind of a problem because there's a lot of feeling that it stresses the brethren and not the
Mhm.
cistern. Uh, but that's the way it was, in Russia, that's how it was. And
Mhm.
my parents on my mom's side my grandparents, they came over from Prussia, where it was all Mennonite church, just Mennonite. You just didn't, I don't know what else you called it.
Mhm.
But then when they got here, then they had this, what they called a conversion, and became a whole different situation.
There's a very good book that I bought when I was in Hillsboro. I don't know. if
That's
you-
the church right there.
Mhm.
Yes. Did you
So-
see my grandparents' grave? It is a big stone. Did you
I
see?
did. I did see it. I did see it.
Huge stone, Franz, Frantz.
And here's another book. This is from Adolf. This is
Uncle Adolf.
Adolf. Yeah, this is called Water from the
Oh.
Well.
Oh, I
It's
didn't
good.
know that.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
it about?
That'll tell you a lot about his growing up and
Yeah.
his.
Ah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
neat.
So I
Yeah,
may,
he's a cool guy.
Suzanne, I need to send this to you, okay? In return for
I
all the
would love to
lures.
borrow it, and
I don't have,
I can send
I
it
don't have
back.
time to read this. I'm going to be out fishing with all these lures, so I need to send this.
Right, it's right. It takes
Yeah.
you terribly.
I'll tell you what, I went to Tabor College. I have to tell you a funny story. I went to Tabor College and
Yeah.
there's this nice nice woman there named Peggy. Connie,
Peggy,
you probably know Peggy.
I know Peggy.
And I was telling her that I was there kind of trying to do some family research. And she goes, well, you can pay me. I'll do a bunch of research.
Oh,
And I said, well, I actually am just following what my grandmother wrote here, my great grandmother. And I showed her the book. She goes, can I make a copy of that? And I said, I told her, I said, you're going to have to pay me.
that is so good.
Right on.
Once I kind of lightened her up a little bit, I said, if you've got any books, I'll buy them. She went digging through her book bin and she pulled out
Yeah,
Water from the Well, Journey of a Church,
yes.
the Franz book.
Look.
And she pulled out, I got one, The History of Hillsboro. I mean, she loaded me up. I said, okay, I'm going to buy all these. I'm going to make a donation to the college. And then she had the biggest smile on her face. So, but she was quite the character.
She is a very gifted person, though. She can translate like crazy. She can write. She's
Yeah.
written books. But they would want to see Peggy if they came. I mean,
For
I have
sure.
nothing to share compared to what Peggy.
Well, she's going to try to sell them a bunch of books.
Yeah, that is
Ask
true.
for donations.
I now get the I get the quarterly Tabor College update. Now I get it in the mail. My name was in it last month I did a $50 donation, by the way. It was not that big.
Well, did she say that in it? Is the $50 listed?
Yeah, I was listed. I've got it. I'm in the Tabor quarterly update. My
Okay.
name's in there. I
You
was
can
really
write it off
proud.
your taxes, Kevin.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. He probably doesn't bother with that. Yeah.
yeah. So, well, great. So, Dee Dee, I'm going to nominate you to host the next one in a month because you've got unlimited. You're on mute. You're on mute. Dee Dee, you're on mute.
No.
Yeah,
There
you
she
go. We
is.
can hear you now. Dee Dee, I'm nominating you to set up 1 month from today another call. Because here's
Oh,
the thing,
another
when I
call.
was there, this is what Connie said. She felt very discouraged that she had lost her brothers and she felt a little bit lonely. And I said, oh, you have a whole huge family that you got to get to know. You're crazy. And we will keep you entertained and get you out of your depression.
Connie, this is the first time we've had a Zoom call,
Mhm.
And it's
Oh,
more-
really?
this group of people. Mhm.
And I think it would
I
be
know.
fun to have other people join. Like it'd be nice. I mean, June Franz I invited her. Robert's not on here, so have some additional people.
Did you hear
join.
from June?
I did.
That's
She-
Uncle Adolph's daughter, isn't it? Is that who you're
No.
talking about?
No, June is Marvin's daughter.
Okay, so you're back at the other line.
I
But
don't-
Uncle Adolph had a June and her husband worked at DuPont in Maryland or something
Really?
all their life. They're up there.
Because I'm in Maryland.
Are you?
Uh-huh.
Well, June.
We've been to the DuPont area in
Yeah.
Delaware. Mhm.
June is about my age, though.
Winter tour.
You're not my age, but she is. So I don't know how things.
Maybe we could have her join us on one of the future calls. You never know, Laura. You may be having lunch with June before you know it.
Well, I was gonna tell you, Evan and I might be down in your area at the end of October.
Come on down. Florida is open. I've got a huge house a block from the beach, and I'm remodeling it right now. It's open.
Wow.
All right, we'll be in
If you're-
touch.
And there you can stay as long as you want.
And you don't even have to be vaccinated.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, come on down.
Thank you,
Yeah, Ron
Suzanne.
DeSantis is my neighbor here. We're out infecting everybody.
Oh, brother.
That's DeSantis. Is that who you're talking about?
Hey,
Governor,
Florida is a wonderful place. Just
Oh,
come on
boy.
down.
Well,
There's so much sunshine here. Viruses don't live, so we're good.
Yeah.
It's like Arizona.
Yeah. That's right.
oh, well, Kathy and Nancy might participate next time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Include
Yeah. So
them.
Dee Dee, can you start coordinating? And then what this is going to lead up to is a family reunion in the spring. Yeah, because the last one they had was in like 19. I was reading it. The last one they had was in the 70s.
Yes.
No,
Not
not
us.
our family.
No.
No,
I
there
think
was
he's
had
talking
one.
about the Hillsboro one, right?
yeah the Hillsboro.
Yeah.
Oh, in Hillsboro, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do the family reunion in Hillsboro, by the way.
So many
At
of
Connie's house.
Oh,
Oh, she's like, oh, got to get rid of this family quick.
Connie, we
Time
want
to
to have
move.
potluck in the church basement.
The church is a big area. We can do it there. We do some presentations, and
Well, I do think it would be neat to have, to go to a service too. My husband organized a big family reunion for his family, because his great, like fifth great grandfather had fought in the Civil War, and he was killed down at a battle, and like they had a luminary, and we went to the
Nice.
church service and had a bagpipe player, and
we're all pacifists, so we're not gonna have. We're just gonna have fishing stories.
that's true.
Yeah, we're
Well,
not
he
gonna discuss
got
politics.
infected and died. But yeah.
yeah.
The problem is, like Dan like to drink, so Hillsboro might not know what they're getting into.
Oh, right.
Not our
You,
branch.
you read my mind, Dee Dee.
Yeah, leave your wines at home, Californians. No.
I don't know, and all you Californians turned into winos.
Yeah, they've been whining their whole life. Ah. Perfect, Connie. It was so great to spend some time with you.
Yeah,
and,
really, Connie.
we
Thank you.
really,
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you for
You're-
getting on with us.
Great family.
Thank you.
And Kevin, thank you for organizing.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
yeah. I'm
yeah.
sorry, I'm a little bit late on the draw. Like literally, my house has been torn up, and I'm remodeling the whole thing. I've got guys downstairs tiling today, finishing it up.
Oh.
So I'm getting it ready for all you guys to come visit.
Yeah.
So you guys are total empty nesters now, huh?
Yeah, I have 4 kids. Yeah, Kendall moved to New York. Our oldest, he's 25, and then Josh is doing nursing down in Gainesville.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
And the girls were down there yesterday. We took them an oven because we bought a new oven. So I took them the one from our kitchen and delivered it last night.
Yeah, you called her your favorite girl, your oven.
Yeah,
And
Betty.
Dee Dee,
Boo-
what your the white coat ceremony? What was that for?
So Jacob started dental school at was it Midwestern?
Midwestern.
Midwestern. Remember, down in Phoenix. And so the white coat ceremony is just the initiation, bringing him in. So he's 1 month into his first year. So it's just bringing them in, giving them their white coat, and keep it going. So it was all the schools, and they had to do the first year and the second year because they missed out doing the second year last year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Noah had a concert last night.
Yeah, so I was in Phoenix yesterday because Noah had a beautiful concert. It was a symphony orchestra concert last night for ASU. Yeah.
Super.
What is he playing now? Is he playing
Trombone.
still a trombone? Okay.
When you're 6'5", 270, the trombone looks like a tiny instrument.
5.
It's like a little piccolo.
It was lovely though. Yeah.
Really cool.
We all went, all the boys, the girlfriends, everybody. So yeah, it was fun.
Oh, that's
Very cool.
Yeah, they're all in Phoenix now, Suzanne.
It's hot. It's still hot there, isn't it?
Lovely yesterday and clear and beautiful, and you could see the mountains, and it was gorgeous. Yes.
Good.
So yeah, they're all
I
down.
don't miss it, I'll tell you that.
Don't?
Mm-mm.
Uh,
And it's raining here today, hallelujah.
Oh,
Oh,
here too. I've got
lucky you.
Yeah, we need it, we need the rain.
so do we.
Yeah.
we have gotten so much rain. We got tons of monsoon season, and it's raining. It rained yesterday. It's raining today. It's raining this whole next week.
I saw that flooding you had, they had,
We had a little bit of weather. Yeah,
cool, good.
Yeah,
beautiful though.
yeah.
All right,
Jacob sure looked
All right,
handsome yesterday.
Jacob. did-
Oh, my
Hey,
gosh, yeah.
I'm going to finish off the call with a prayer, guys, because it's Sunday and that's what I do on Sunday. So let's just bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thanks so much for this time today, just spending time together, getting to meet Connie. And God, thank you just for always revealing new things, whether it be family members or history, just and the many blessings that you provide in our family and through the years, the blessings you provided. God, we just love you and we just enjoyed this time today. It's in Jesus' name praying, amen. Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
You're on
you.
the hook
Thank
in
you.
1 month.
Bye,
to-
Connie.
Bye.
Look us up.
Connie, thanks. Glad to meet you.
Bye, Suzanne. Appreciate
See
it.
you in Hillsboro.
Everybody. Good to see you
Soon.
all.
We'll see you in a month when Dee Dee sets up the new one with the unlimited.
She
Zoom.
doesn't have anything else to do, right, Dee Dee?
Well, she's an empty nester too.
That's right.
And it's getting
That's right.
emptier.
That's right. Cats are dying.
Aw.
One less mouth to feed. That's what I thought. I didn't post that, but that's what I was thinking.
My expenses are going down, down,
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good to
Bye.
see
Love you
ya.
guys.
Good to
All
see
right.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Kevin.
Bye-bye.